All right, so it's been a while since I last did a video. I have been a pretty busy guy, but unfortunately I haven't been busy enough with my Jeep and going off-road and making any trips. But I've always got it in the back of my mind. I'm always thinking about it, and I've done some upgrades to the Jeep here recently that I think you guys are going to be interested in. I've also had some gripes about the Jeep and the upfits I've done to it so far, and there's some things that I want to change, and I kind of want to go over what I want to change and why. So the first thing I did was install these LED chase lights on the back of the Jeep right here. I think I've seen multiple people on YouTube do that before, and I really like the way it turned out. These KC Cyclones are super bright, and they make for a great chase light. I haven't even had a chance to use them, but they look pretty good on there. That was an easy, fun install that I recommend. You could definitely take that on yourself, and I think you'd get a kick out of it. I also installed those amber LED lights on the front of the Jeep. It comes in those 3 amber lights from Oracle, and I think that turned out really great too. I usually only see that on, say, like Toyotas or even some Gladiators, but I've not seen a whole lot of Jeep Wranglers with it, and I think it turned out pretty good. All right, so I did take some damage here. Well, I took most of this actually happened in Moab last year, but I've taken on some other damage doing some other things off-road and messing around a little bit. One thing has been this back bumper area. I took some damage on both corners right above the bumper. All right, so that damage occurred because the bumper, I landed on it and it bashed up into the body of the car there, and so I've got to do something about that. One, I got to get those corners fixed, which I've just been putting it off. But the other thing, I think I need a new bumper. I've looked at a couple of options. I think the current plan may be to go with the AEV bumper because it offers you 2 things. One, it's got the cutouts here in those corners to allow for a little bit more drop. But that really wouldn't have saved me necessarily from those things there. It's more about that departure angle. So I'm really not sure what I'm going to do there. But I'm kind of not happy with how that stock bumper flexed like that and bent up into the frame. But I've got to say, I did land on it pretty hard. I was pretty inexperienced out there, and definitely, driver fault. But I think I can avoid it maybe in the future with something a little lower profile, maybe a little smaller. Or if I go with the AEV bumper, it's a little hardier and it's got those cutouts there, those kind of, rounded edges around the corners of the bumper to allow for some of that. I'd also mention that if you do the AEV bumper, you can get that gas tank with it, which is kind of appealing to me because the gas tank on the 4xe is so small. So that's one of the downsides of the 4xe that, I don't think there's a whole lot of downsides to it, to be frank, but the one is definitely the gas tank size. All right, so one other thing about the Jeep that I would mention is the tailgate. I got the Mopar tailgate reinforcement from the factory, and I'm not happy with it. I mean, after I put the 37-inch tire on there, I've got the tailgate table, which is also pretty heavy. I just don't feel like it's doing enough to really stay sturdy and stay, keep everything. It just seems like it's working really, really hard, and I think I'm going to make a change there, and that's kind of dependent on what bumper I do. If I do that AEV bumper, well, it's got the spare tire holder, and that removes a lot of the issue. But if I don't do that bumper, then I think I'm going to go with the TerraFlex reinforced tailgate. But I've got some things to check out. Please leave me in the comments below if you've picked up any tailgate reinforcement, what you went with, and what you recommend. All right, so the other project I think I need to take a look into is new Fender Liners. So a lot of people have asked me, which I really didn't think about this or think this through or know this when I first picked up these wheels, but I've got that kind of tucked in look with the Salta wheels from AEV. They don't stick out very far. And with that back spacing, I guess I'm a little more prone to the rubbing, especially in the rear. I don't have any issues in the front, but in the back, if I'm super flexed out, I do have an issue with rubbing on the inner fender liners in the very back of the wheel. If you look there, they're kind of a mess. They get pretty torn up, and I think that it's time to maybe replace these. And I really like the ones from American Adventure Lab. I'll probably go with those. The only downside to removing the fender liners is a lot of times you remove this black lip here around the Jeep, and I don't know, I kind of want to retain that, so I'll have to look into that. Got a little bit of scuffing here on my fender flare as well from some damage I took out in Moab. Okay, so the last thing I would talk about as far as what I've done or what I've broken on the Jeep lately, I did break an axle. Now, in the defensive Jeep, I was wheeling it pretty hard and probably a little past spec, and anyway, I broke it. In fact, I broke 2 axles the same day. I broke an axle on a Jeep Cherokee we own, and then I broke this one. So probably driver related, but anyway, I've already replaced it and fixed it. I haven't any problems since, but that was another thing I broke, and I haven't really heard of many people doing that on one of these yet. So, you know, whoops. But not to say that that's a weak point. I think it was definitely driver related, so I don't want to alarm anybody, but that's another thing I've had to do with the Jeep lately. All right, so anyway, that's what I've been up to with the Jeep lately. Just a couple of small modifications, just playing around, and I've got some plans for the future for the build, but nothing crazy. I'd love to hear what you've got or what you have done to solve some of the problems I just showed you, what products you used and things like that. A lot of times the comments on these YouTube videos they've been awesome. I did one about 3D printing. I got a bunch of different advice on different, you know, products to use and stuff for that, and then I've always gotten advice on different products to buy for the Jeep and things of that nature. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take a look at some of the other videos and like, comment, and subscribe.